Hello, this is Anthony Parent, tax attorney at Parent & Parent, founder of IRSmedic, and I'm here to talk to you about tax levies today, how you got here, and now what to do. First thing is about 6% of all Americans will experience some sort of tax problem this year. So, here's the thing to remember. You're not alone in this. Some problems are small, some are big, and then some are nightmares. With the tax code so complex and so invasive, no wonder our clients were in denial. And here's how you got here. Step one is you ran up a tax bill. Now you may have filed your return, or the IRS may have filed a return for you, or perhaps you're audited and given a bill. Anyway, you now have a bill you can't afford to pay. Step two, the IRS sends a bill. Step three, the IRS sends a reminder. Step four, the IRS sends another reminder. Step 5, the IRS sends a notice of levy. Now this notice allows the IRS to levy 15% of your Social Security or intercept any state refund that you have coming. Step 6, the IRS sends a final notice of intent to levy. Step 7, 30 days expire and there is still no response from you. At that point, the IRS can levy at will. Your wages, your bank and retirement accounts, and your accounts payable if you happen to be self-employed. And it's really easy to do because the IRS has all this information on file. They know who sent you a 1099 in the past and they know who's sent you a W-2 in the past. So what can you do? Can you stop a levy? Can you get your money back? The answer is yes, and here's how to do it. Option 1, pay the IRS in full. And that option really probably isn't all that helpful for you. And option 2, request time to pay the IRS in full. And that's slightly more helpful. Option 3 is propose a collection alternative. And a collection alternative is some sort of way of paying the IRS back in a manner that you could afford. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that later. Option 4 is prove a hardship, that you're absolutely destitute and there's simply no money at all to pay. Option 5, prove a lack of ownership in the property or equity or post a bond against. And here, let me give you an example. Let's just say that you have an account that you're holding money for a disabled child, something like that, and the IRS levies it because your Social Security number is on that. In that case, you'd have to prove, if you were able to prove that the money really belongs to your son, the IRS would give you a release. Or, for example, the IRS levies a bank account that you use to pay your employees, and that if they don't give the money back, you're going to bounce checks to your employees. In that case, we would say, well, that money would be an employee's. And so the IRS may give you a release entirely or in full. Option 6, and this is really a nuclear option here, is when filing bankruptcy. Once you file bankruptcy, you get a 90-day stay. But one of the things is if you don't file bankruptcy correctly, you may end up hurting yourself. Because bankruptcy can discharge personal tax debts. It's true. So that's really something you want to think about and make sure you get in touch with a bankruptcy attorney and tax attorney who really know their stuff before you go for that. And if you are denied, well, everything except bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is a sure thing. But otherwise, when dealing with the IRS, if you're denied, you can request an appeal or seek help from the taxpayer advocate. And if you see that asterisk there, the reason why that's there is, what we're finding right now is that the taxpayer advocate is so overwhelmed that we're keeping every case directly with the IRS, and that we just find that tenacity more or less pays off because the taxpayer advocate simply doesn't have the resources right now in this economy to help everybody in a timely manner. And that's no slight to the taxpayer advocate. They are great people. They simply don't have the budget. But now, getting a levy released, okay, that's not the complete solution. That only stopped the pain for right now. So we got to get to the promised land of permanent relief. And my firm, we've developed 5 steps, and I'm going to share those steps with you right now. And step 1 is, once we get the levy off, we got to get you in current compliance. That means your withholdings have to be correct, and you're making estimated tax payments. Step 2 is investigation. We want to make sure whenever we're going to propose a complete solution that we know everything that's going on and that we have all the tax years wrapped up in a bow for our deal with the IRS. Step 3 is getting you into past compliance, and generally this is just getting all old tax returns filed. Step 4 is getting a financial analysis and structuring done on you. We're going to have to document and convince the IRS that you're going to have a limited ability to pay, and we really have the burden of proof. And so we got to get everything done correctly, and sometimes we'll even ask you to change your affairs slightly just to show a more favorable, a lower ability to pay the IRS. Step 5, is our collection alternative. As I mentioned before, we got to propose one, and basically in this case, one of them would be an offer and compromise, where we would say you only have an ability to pay a fraction of what you owe the IRS. One would be an installment agreement where you're paying the IRS whatever you can afford at the end of the month. The other one would just maybe hardship status. And bankruptcy may be involved here as well, or lastly, penalty abatement. Because we need it permanently so that you can get your life back and focus on your family, your career, and building wealth for a secure future. Now, to get to that final steps, it requires that we focus on the best possible facts and minimize any bad facts. We research the law and point out the rules the IRS must follow. Now, I just want you to imagine that if you worked at the IRS, that you have a wheelbarrow full of tax code to understand. You have a wheelbarrow full of an internal revenue manual to understand. Well, clearly, there's really not anyone human who can understand that. And if you were at the job, how would you get your job done? And basically, you would pay attention to the trainings the best you could, but really you'd be looking at what your coworkers were doing and asking them for advice. And if they said you could probably get away with doing something, you'd probably go with it. So many times we have to point to the IRS. The rule book is printed, but it's so big, so many of them don't pay attention to it, and shortcuts are taken all the time. So getting permanent relief means we have to build and document cases with incredible detail and precision. And ideally, we articulate an optimum solution by applying the facts to the relevant law in such a persuasive manner that the IRS has no choice but to accept. Guess what? No tax attorney can make the IRS do anything. So if the IRS won't be reasonable, we have already exhausted all administrative remedies and built a rock-solid case for tax court to get relief there. So a tax levy, let's think about this as a good thing, right? Your tax levy, let's just consider this the nudge. You need to get the right help. Because tax problems cause divorce, chronic unemployment, chronic poverty, loss of freedom, loss of a chance of feeling human again. So what I'm trying to say is, why waste another day of your life? Don't you deserve peace of mind? Don't you deserve security? Don't you deserve a decent shot at happiness? I hope so. If you're watching this and what I'm saying is making sense, it's not too late to put all these bad feelings and anguish away permanently. It can be done. All you need is some really talented and wonderful people on your side. And it is so easy to make it happen. For real tax relief, call my office to schedule a free consultation with one of our tax relief specialists at IRSmedic. 888-477-4257 or email info@IRSmedic. And if you're still unsure what to do, just visit my website, IRSmedic.com, for free reports you can't get anywhere else. And thanks for watching. Hello, this is Anthony Parent, tax attorney at IRSmedic, and I want to talk to you today about tax relief. And if you are in the need, I want to let you know there is hope. And here's the thing, about 6% of American taxpayers will experience some sort of a tax problem this year, so you are not alone. Now some problems, and most problems are small, some are big, and some are nightmares. With the tax code so complex and so invasive, it seems kind of strange that Americans actually need to hire attorneys to fight their own government. And we can't change that overnight. So we need to deal with the cards we have straight on. And a question that you probably want to ask is, can you handle the IRS on your own? And sure, absolutely. If you have nothing to lose or nothing to gain. If it's a bill or charge you don't mind paying, you can afford to pay, or are totally destitute and plan on being for the rest of your life, you can certainly handle the IRS on your own. But for the rest of us, the IRS is simply the most powerful agency in the world. So what can be done? Well, basically, for all tax problems can be split up in two different types of problems. One is you really don't owe the amount the IRS says that you owe. The other is you can't afford to say what you agree that you owe. And sometimes it is a combination, but there is always a solution. So how do we get to the promised land? Well, we've developed 5 steps, and now I'm going to share with you the 5 steps that have been the key to our clients' success. And step 1 is that you need to be in current compliance, and that means your withholding and your estimated payments are complete and submitted in. The IRS doesn't mind negotiating any old tax debt, but they don't want a new tax debt to incur while they're negotiating. And step 2 is investigation. Every case needs to be thoroughly investigated, and the IRS doesn't do a great job of explaining to taxpayers exactly what's going on. And so many times when we start a case, we find out something that the taxpayer was totally surprised by. Step 3 is past compliance. We got to make sure that we get your old taxes filed in order to negotiate with the IRS. Step 4, this is where we do. We want to take a look at your financial analysis, and we're going to structure some things around to take advantage of rules that will allow you to pay the least amount to the IRS. Because what that does is that steps up step 5. And that's going to be your collection alternative. And what that is that determines what you can pay and how you can pay it. And here we would get into partial payment installment agreement, an offering compromise, currently not collectible, even bankruptcy is a big option, or penalty abatement. And that really, in these solutions, they're going to get your life back so that you can focus on your career, your family, building a wealth for a secure future. Now, to get to that final step, it requires that we advocate for you fully by focusing on the best possible facts and minimizing bad facts. Researching the law and pointing out to the IRS the rules they must follow. Shortcuts are taken all the time. This is what you need to know. Revenue officers, revenue examiners, they're not attorneys. And just like you can imagine, if you were working at a large organization with a bunch of different rules, you probably wouldn't have the time to go to the rule book all the time. Rather, you would just take a look to see what your coworkers were doing and see what you could get away with, and that's probably what you would do. So many times we have to point out to the IRS that they're not following their own rule book. Because getting permanent relief requires that we build and document your case with incredible detail and precision. And ideally, we articulate an optimum solution by applying the facts to the relevant law in such a persuasive manner the IRS has no choice but to accept. But guess what? No tax attorney can make the IRS do anything. So if the IRS won't be reasonable, well, by trying this administrative remedy, we've already built a rock-solid case for tax court if we need to get relief there. So essentially, tax relief, do not give up. Just get the right help. And I do want to talk about a true story, untreated. Tax problems can lead to divorce, chronic unemployment, chronic poverty, loss of freedom, loss at any chance of feeling human again, and unfortunately tragedy. This is a true story. A client of ours was attempted to get tax relief by hiring one of these national tax resolution firms and spent some money there. He ended up having to deal with the IRS himself, and he got involved in a petty battle with a revenue officer. He hired us, and we were about at our step 2, 2-3 weeks after he hired us, and then we found out that he took his own life. It got a little too much for you. It's that serious. He left a wife and a daughter. And the thing is, his problem we could have solved pretty easily. So what I'm trying to say is, why waste another day of your life? Because don't you deserve peace of mind? Don't you deserve security? Don't you deserve a decent shot at happiness? If you're watching this, and what I'm saying is making sense, it's not too late to put all these bad feelings and anguish away permanently. It can be done. All you need is some really talented people on your side. It is so easy to make that happen. For real tax relief, call my office to schedule a free consultation with the tax relief specialist at IRSmedic. My number is 888-477-4257, or email info@IRSmedic. If you're still unsure what to do, please visit my website, IRSmedic.com, for free reports you can't get anywhere else. And thanks for watching.